likelihood of a damage and severity if there is a damage.
Right.
I think for too long, and there are still people who have this mentality of every ticket is equally important.
I'd say the majority of people within the industry
Which is
treat every ticket like every other ticket,
which is
particularly procurement departments.
and I'm going to say this very, very carefully, which is a incredibly naive mentality, because we don't say that with regards to almost anything in our lives, right? Like every widget is equally important. No, they're not. They're just not, right? So when you pretend that every ticket is equally important, then what you're essentially saying is, I cannot materially differentiate effort. Okay, so I have to peanut butter effort across all tickets, which reminds me of when we're moving as kids and they gave some fragile stickers, right, to some of the boxes. So my sister put fragile sticker on every one of her boxes.
Okay.
Right, from the stuffed animals to the wards to computers, right? Yeah. So then what happens is the moving guys see fragile stickers on every box. Yeah. And it doesn't mean anything anymore.
Right.
If everything's fragile, then nothing's fragile.
Yeah. Right.
If everything's important, then nothing's important. So if all tickets are equally important, then no tickets are important. They're just all tickets to me.
Right.
I think we have to move away from that. And I think predictive analytics, AI, machine learning helps us do that in a how do you say, objective, unemotional, and probably the most accurate way we can do it.
Okay. So could this be the thing that changes how the industry?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's already changing a little. I think it can change a lot more. There are more and more companies using it. I think the technology is getting better and better.
Yeah, no law, and dare I say, no staff who has, by virtue of law, is given the ability to enforce one-call law, would ever say what you said. Because if, let's say let's say a landscape contractor wanted to file a complaint with the commission that these 12 tickets were not done in the allotted amount of time that law required, and they called in a second request, and let's even say they called in a third and fourth request, it never got located. If that landscaper makes a complaint at the commission, that commission is going to treat those tickets exactly the same as the tickets down Wabash Avenue in the Loop of Chicago. They're all going to be exactly the same.
Right. And
because the law doesn't make an exception, and they don't enforce anything that's not in the law.
You're totally right, but that's why we still have fundamentally the same system we have today as in the 80s when we didn't have GPS, wireless communications, and the most powerful computer in the world is less powerful than my phone. That's why we're still here, right? I mean, if we were more, this industry is very rigid. If we were less rigid, then we would say, yeah, no, look, your flower planting tickets are not as important as.
Hey, we're going to send you a map.
That's exactly where I'm going. We're going to send you a map, and you decide what you want to do with this.
Well, some state laws allow for that.
Yeah.
You don't have to have painting flags out there. Some state laws allow sending of a map.
Yeah.
Now, granted, some maps may be better than others, but if I'm a landscaper and I know where the gas line is going, and if there's buried power, I know where that's going, and I have a general sense of where, particularly in warmer climates where lines are shallower, I have a general sense of where water's going to be. I can see a curb box at the property line. That may be absolutely all the information I'll ever want to know. I could care less about the area being painted.
And
I know where not to do stuff.
And so here's some of the pushback against stuff like that is, well, the prints aren't accurate. Well, the prints are not going to get more accurate if you don't use it.
Right.
Okay, so there's a chicken and egg thing, right? Where the prints are not accurate, so we're not going to use it. Well, we're not going to get the prints more accurate because you're not using it.
Right.
So the way to really stop that is to have more people use it legally, right? The law says, look, you have to have you, the utility, have to have this level of accurate prints, and they're actually going to be used. And if they're wrong, you got some issues, right? Then, to your point, why or how are they going to get it more accurate? Then they're going to have some more motivation to get it accurate.
Yeah. So I did a locating job in suburban Vancouver, and where I had typically done training, we had to drive. The only time we had to drive, we couldn't walk from where the classroom was. We had to drive to get metal water mains, to get ductile iron water mains, so we could locate. Otherwise, all the mains around us were PVC, polyethylene, whatever, non-metallic. So the equipment we're training on, is useless. So I had a new area, and I thought, well, it'd be nice to know where we have to go for water mains. I've never been in this area of the suburb before. I just pulled up the map, the city map, where I could tell who lives where, all sorts of information on their GIS. I can pull out the utility layer. I can pull up the water layer. And I can see, oh, okay, so this direction, the water mains are ductile iron. That's easy. So I already had information sitting from, basically where we're at right now. I knew that I could locate water mains in training class just by going online, because that information was out there. Again, what does the public, how do they use it? Well, we could probably, we worked all these years to get homeowner tickets, right? Up to the point where if we treat every ticket the same, we're not getting to places where it can really, help our society move forward, right? Because we're encumbered by treating every ticket the same. If I had this kind of map that I had access as a homeowner, most of the time I'm going to figure out what I need to know by looking at a map.
And if important parts of the map are wrong, it will be updated. It will be corrected because it's being used more.
Right.
Right. Whereas if it's hidden in the basement and it's only accessed by 3 people, who cares if it's inaccurate?
Yeah.
It's just not used.
I always thought it'd be interesting if you said, hey, every time there's a real estate transfer, there would be a utility locate or a utility survey, so that every home that's sold, we will mark out where every line is that can be located and included in a record for the city or whatever at the commencement of every sale. So bit by bit, you like little mosaics, you start building this picture of where things are. And now how useful is that for people? Well, we were going to build a rock wall over here, but now I see the gas comes around the house and goes over here instead of going straight to the road. Now I can change my plan based on my desire to avoid having any of the lines that serve me in conflict. I'm the one with skin in the game, but I have the information now so I can move forward.